Demonstrators gathered outside the Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Portland clashed with federal agents in a protest against Trump's troop deployment. Protesters marched over to the ICE facility to protest the presence of ICE and the potential deployment of the National Guard in Portland. This follows a previous, similar protest on October 4, where federal officers deployed various crowd control measures against demonstrators. The protest was aimed at standing against what organizers describe as the military occupation of Portland streets, and to demand the shutdown of the ICE facility. The protests come amid growing tensions between Portland and the federal government over immigration enforcement and the use of federal forces in U.S. cities. President Donald Trump has announced plans to deploy National Guard troops to Portland to support ICE operations and protect federal buildings.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to have met with the Secretary today. Appreciate having lines of communication. The meeting also included several federal law enforcement officers as well, and I believe that communication is the first step to resolving our differences. That without communication, we can't learn on ways to move from our protect state to a level of expansion and maybe evolving into a new way of thinking, a new way of believing. And so I will always accept those opportunities regardless of our opinions or backgrounds or beliefs. So I want to thank the Secretary for that time today. We anticipate there may be some more public order events throughout the course of the day. I've been told that we've made one arrest today down near South Waterfront of somebody that was causing a disturbance. I don't know that it was directly related to the South Waterfront event or if it was separate from, but I do know we made one arrest in the area. And I also want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the numerous other agencies that are supporting us today. We have a number of outside agencies that are supporting us from the Tri-County area. And it's not only important to thank them, but I'm also important to recognize what that represents. And that represents a regional response towards public safety that I'm very proud of. We've been working on that for the last couple of years, and to have numerous chiefs and sheriffs reach out and say, hey, how can we help? Should give great encouragement to not just Portlanders, but really to the region as a whole as we work together to really provide an environment of safety and security. So with that, I will try to answer a few questions.
Hi, Ariel Yakubazi with Point 6. Good to see you, Chief Day. I'm just curious about what the tone of that meeting was today. I know that it's been much anticipated, especially since you kind of last minute decided to show up. So how did that go? What are the steps moving forward? What was the tone of the meeting?
Yeah, I would say that, there's clearly some differences of opinion. If anybody's been paying attention to the national conversation, I wouldn't say that we're all in alignment and agreement on every point. But I can say that, we continue to be professionals and we continue to strive for a shared value of safety. The Secretary obviously and understandably is very concerned for the safety of her employees, her officers, as well as, the building itself and the ability for it to function. So we really try to look for ways and solutions that might allow us to reduce some of the conflict and the dissidents down there in a way that's, primarily for the safety of all.
President Donald Trump last month directed Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to Portland amid protests at the facility, claiming the city is a war zone. Over the weekend, a U.S. district judge temporarily blocked the Trump administration from deploying the National Guard to Portland.
Victor Parker with K2 here. So those conversations with her, both of you were at the ICE facility, and what did she see? Because obviously she may have seen videos. What did she see when she was there? Did she address any of that?
No, you'd have to ask her specifically what she saw. I mean, we have the area right now, as we would do traditionally for any dignitary visit. We have the area cordoned off. So there are people, I've been down there a couple times now. There are some people on McAdam and some of the other side streets, but in regards to what she's actually has seen or been made aware of, I'm not sure.
Michaela Armstrong, KBTV.
Other outlets and conservative influencers mentioned you looked defeated after the meeting. What's your response to that?
I'm 57 years old and I haven't been getting a lot of sleep lately. If people want to suggest that I look defeated, then that's certainly a perception, but the reality is there's a great deal of responsibility that comes with this position. And I do not feel defeated. I'm actually encouraged by the continued opportunity we have as a city to step forward and create a different narrative. And I don't say that lightly because it's not easy. It's not something to throw around. This really needs to be a holistic approach. From the governor, to the mayor, to the county, to the council, to our community, to the police bureau, to regional partners. This really is our time to stand together. And to do that, we're going to have to give a little bit. We're going to have to give a little bit. With this attitude of certainty that is binary conversation will not move us forward. The only way that's going to happen is when each of us focus on that shared value of safety and then look for ways to try and find a way to meet in some particular context to make that successful.
One quick clarifying thing and then my main question, because Mike had said that obviously you had an initial meeting with the secretary, with OSP superintendent and Multnomah County Sheriff, but you had or are having a meeting with Mayor Wilson and the secretary?
Mayor Wilson and I just left the secretary like 15 minutes ago. Yeah.
And then the main question is, you know, one of the partners in that meeting was Federal Protective Service, and you have repeatedly communicated with them, especially since these protests began. And you have conveyed that the Bureau has been able to handle the incidents that are happening at the facility. And again, I wasn't in the building, but the people who were with the secretary, you know, she is saying that I'm going to get you more help, referring to her, to the federal law enforcement there. You know, where is the dissonance there that you feel that they feel like they need more help, but you feel, you know, you're able to handle what's happening?
Yeah, so I look at it really from a more holistic point of view, going all the way back to when we first started having disturbances there. And there's no doubt that, particularly in the month of June, significant amount of damage committed against the building and a variety of assaults were committed, and the Portland Police Bureau was engaged and we made a number of arrests. Over the past few months, there's been a significant decrease in that violent activity, which we have focused on. To say that there has been no crime would not be accurate. There are always, you know, potential for different types of crime. Ours is focused on violence and vandalism. As I explained to the secretary today, you know, we're managing an entire city here. And so we prioritize to the best of our ability the resources we have to meet those demands. And frankly, we need more. We need more. And not only do we need more police officers, but we need other areas to support to deal with crime. I think the dissidence is that, you know, certainly over the last 10 days, the energy level has gone up. The amount of conflicting points of view have increased greatly. And this has created an environment that's equally, if not more challenging for us because of the dynamics in the crowd, not just intent against, you know, what was originally the conversation of protest, which was immigration.
Chief, were you able to talk to the secretary at all about the impact that the administration's statements have made on what's going on down there?
We did mention briefly the importance of our words and our conversations and our statements. And, you know, we're all adults. We all are responsible for what we say and how we say it. It was not good use of our time to determine whether or not the perceptions are accurate. I didn't want to spend a lot of time trying to dive into those kind of specifics. We did speak holistically about the need for a change in the environment and a change in behavior down there, and I'm in agreement with that. And so, you know, I would appreciate the fact that over the last couple of days, I've been speaking regularly with Casey Cotting from the state police, Superintendent Cotting, and other law enforcement leaders trying to think about what that might look like. What could that mean in terms of not only a law enforcement role, but really a community role, as well as a political role, and what that could be.